was such a fake intro, I don't know why I just did that. Hello, I'm back in my car. I love my car, my gorgeous Duster. Yes, I'm back in Dubai. I'm literally here for 10 days, 9 days now. I leave, I don't even know when this is gonna go live. It is currently the 7th. I leave Dubai on the 14th. So literally not even 9 days, a week. I leave in a week. Yeah, so a very fleeting visit, but I basically wasn't expecting Marcus to come to the marathon. So I thought that I wasn't gonna see him for like a month and a half. I basically planned to come to Dubai to see him, hence the short trip, because it is now so hot here. It's literally like 42 degrees. In fact, right now it is 30 degrees. But yesterday it was 40 degrees. So it's hot, basically. Long story short, it is hot. Anyway, sorry. So yeah, so I'm in Dubai for literally like a week and a bit. And then I go to France with Marcus because he's doing an Ironman 70.3, which is cool. I don't know if anyone remembers when I did an Ironman 70.3 last year. It was like maybe one of the worst days of my life due to it being so hard. I obviously loved it, but at the same time, oh my God, it was so hard. And I haven't signed up for another one. I'm not gonna lie, when I was training for it, I was a bit like, I might as well just do a full afterwards. And then I finished it on the day and I was like, I am never doing that again, let alone double that. So it would be nice to be on the other side of it, and I'm watching him do that. And then I'm back in the UK for like summer. The whole of summer I'm in the UK or sort of in and around Europe, which I'm really excited for. And I think I'm gonna be spending some time in Copenhagen, which I'm so excited for, but I will talk about that as it comes. That is many, many months away. My Dubai era is coming to an end. It's kind of crazy. I think the next time I'll be here is probably like September or October. I'm just gonna do the intro to the video now, which is probably about 5 minutes in, probably even longer. But hello. Welcome back to my channel. I want to be consistent with YouTube, so I thought that I would just sort of like post a bit of a ramble in my car, update you all on what's going on in my life. So I ran the London Marathon last weekend. I've actually had a load of DMs on like loads of questions about it, and I kind of wasn't really expecting that, so I thought that I kind of just run through some of the questions that I had on here because I want to. First question I got was, what do you listen to on a marathon? I never normally listen to music, but for some reason during London, I put my headphones in at 22k and I didn't take them out until the end. I've got so many videos from people, so many lovely people sent me videos from the sidelines, which is so nice. And they've got videos of me just like running past, completely ignoring them. And I was like, why did I do that? I have a London Marathon playlist. I can link it, but I feel like I have a very eclectic music taste when I'm running, which like only a very specific type of person would like to listen to, because there's like a lot of Glee in there. But there's like also a lot of Hamilton. There's some like West Side Story in there. So I can share that if people want me to share that, but I will only do that if people ask, because I feel like it's kind of embarrassing. Second question I got was, do you need to go to the loo during a marathon? Because I think I put that I sat in the Portaloo for like 7 minutes. I didn't need to go to the loo, I just wanted to sit down, to be honest, in this marathon. I don't know if I've ever told this story before. I think I told it once on the Runner podcast when I did an episode of their podcast. But when I did the Berlin Marathon, it was like quite a warm day in Berlin, so I was drinking quite a lot of water throughout the marathon. Kind of don't really expect it because I feel like I never really get like that in long runs, but like something about a marathon just like makes you have a really dry mouth. So you end up just like drinking loads of water, and then it can be really easy in like the last couple of miles just to like chug water. And I actually wet myself. I wet myself during the Berlin Marathon, which was actually really tough. And like kind of embarrassing. Sorry, is this like a way TMI story to tell? Oh well, I'm gonna tell it anyway, this is my channel. But I basically crossed the line and this guy at the end was like, oh my God, I follow you on Instagram. And then he kind of like looked at my shorts. Bearing in mind I was wearing purple shorts, which is sort of giving like will show. And he sort of looked down at my shorts and he was like, I'll leave you to it. Oh, it made me want to die. It made me want to die. So I would say if you need the loo, maybe just go. Because otherwise you might wet yourself like I did. Third question that I got, I did a couple of videos with COROS before the marathon, and I got a load of questions from people basically just asking for more specifics on that. As you guys know, I wear my COROS watch for every single run I do. I love it. I have worn this watch for about a year now. I've ran both the New York Marathon and the London Marathon with this watch. It's great for swimming. Up until this point, have not had a cycling, what's it called? Hello? A bike computer. I haven't had a bike computer. So I've always just strapped my watch to my bike. This is great as well for a bike computer, but they did recently send me a bike computer and it is actually great. So I will do a bit more of an update on that one. I'm getting my bike out again this week, which I'm so excited for. So yeah, I will do a bit more of an actual update on that one once that is all set up with my bike, and I'll let you know the specifics of that. But yeah, so I use this for running. It's quite interesting because it tells you what it thinks you're going to run a marathon at. So if I go on my app right now, it thinks that I could run a marathon in 3:45, which I kind of do think I could. I was aiming for something in the 3:30s, to be honest. So if anything, that's, I don't know. I don't know whether I actually could have got something in the 3:30s, but 3:45, I reckon I could have got if I wasn't ill and I wasn't walking. That's literally like saying I think I could have run a sub 3 marathon if I'd have just run a bit faster. I could have got 3:45 if I didn't walk. It thinks I can run a half marathon in 1:46, which is actually my PB. So that's interesting. But no, it gives you so much data. It tells you like your base fitness, your recovery, your heart rate zones. And it also gives you really great data like per specific run. So if I track my actual marathon, wait, where do I find that? Here we go. Average heart rate, 182. Best mile, 8:14. Pretty good. Yeah, I mean, if you go into this, it gives you so much data. Like all of your heart rate, max 192 for my heart rate. That's so bad. Yeah, it gives you your cadence, your stride length, your running power, the course elevation, training effect, and then goes into like your specific splits. So the data that it gives you is pretty bloody amazing. I do love my COROS watch. I think if you are someone who is like wanting to get into running a little bit more seriously, I would say invest in a watch. It makes it a lot easier to like hit your paces because you know that your pacing is accurate. When I first started running, I was only using my phone GPS and it's just like way off. Like your phone GPS will always give you much faster data than you're actually running. And I remember when I first started using a watch, I was like, oh my God, I'm so much slower than I thought that I was. But I'm obviously now a much better runner because I actually know like what's going on and I'm not like in the dark with my pacing. So I personally think a running watch is really worth it. And also it's great for like swimming and cycling. Other things from COROS that I have that are also amazing. This thing is the thing that I got the most questions on. This is the COROS Pod 2 and I did a reel on this before the marathon because I didn't know this, but in most like big city marathons or even just like big cities in general, your GPS cuts out at like certain points. So like at the London Marathon, it's like when you're going under the bridges and when you're in Canary Wharf, your GPS just kind of like cuts out for some reason. And that is consistent across like every single tracking device. Like even if you're using your phone GPS, it will drop out during those periods. And I sometimes find it in London, if I'm around high buildings or if I'm going under tunnels, like my watch sometimes like takes a minute just to like recalibrate. And I think in a marathon in particular, when you're wanting to hit specific paces, that can really throw you off if you're seeing something on your watch that's saying that you're running like a minute slower than you're meant to be running, and then you're going to try and speed up to that, but it's actually just because the GPS in that area is like a little bit funky. So this is basically a GPS tracking device. I attach it to my shoes and then this automatically connects to my watch. I don't know what kind of wizardry it's doing, but it gives you like completely perfect GPS the whole time, which was so useful because I knew the zones to look out for when your GPS drops out. So I was obviously like in those zones looking at my watch and my pacing stayed like consistent. And I remember looking around, I can't remember what it was, I think it was like mile 11 or something along those lines. I was in Canary Wharf and I could just see people like doing this and like frowning at their watches. And I was looking at mine and I was like, mine's perfect. If you are someone who's wanting to like hit really specific paces, I don't know, even just on a run or if you're doing a marathon, this was really, really, really great. And I will continue to use this in like any other future races that I do because a really nifty bit of kit, this. One thing that I was planning on wearing but I didn't wear, honestly, just because I was scared of what my heart rate would be, is my heart rate monitor from COROS. looking at my heart rate from my watch, I'm kind of glad that I didn't, because it would have given me even more accurate data, and I guarantee that that means that my heart rate probably would have been higher than 192, which like ultimately that's none of my business. But I did wear this a lot in training runs, and it was really, really great, specifically when I was in the heat, because obviously training in the heat is hard and you have to kind of like go off heart rate a little bit more than pacing, because I don't know, you can tell the amount of effort you're putting in based on your heart rate. This was really, really great for heat training. It literally just goes on your arm like this, and then it just sits there, and then you just run with it. So yeah, so those were my tracking bits and bobs for the marathon, and I'm a COROS fangirl through and through. Love COROS products. I think the tracking and the data that you get is like some of the best out there in terms of smartwatches and fitness trackers and all that jazz. So I will put more details in the description about links and where to buy everything and what each specific thing that I just went through is in the description. But yeah, I guess the point of this video, I basically wanted to talk about like next things for me, I guess, because I don't know, the marathon was a big thing for me life-wise, but it was also a big thing for me work-wise, and I was just kind of thinking a little bit on what I want to do next, where I want to go with my career, my work, what I want to do, because I don't know whether it was the fact that it was my third marathon, I don't know whether it was the fact that I was ill, or whether it was the fact that it was like home city. I don't know if this makes sense, but when I did the Berlin and the New York marathon, it felt like a whole thing, because I flew to a new country to do a marathon, and then there, and I was like looking at all these sites, and I was like, wow, I'm gonna run past that on Sunday, and I'm carb loading for the marathon, I'm doing all these things, and then in London, I was just kind of doing my daily routine. But then I remember like the night before, I was just like cooking dinner, and I was like, wait, I should probably make it a bit carby. I am running a marathon tomorrow. I didn't really feel those like nerves that I had for the other races, I guess. I don't know what it was, but I think that kind of reflected in my actual marathon. Like, I don't really feel like I had any like bite in me to keep going, to be honest. Like, I remember in my first two marathons, and even the 70.3 that I did, the moment that it started to get hard in a marathon for me, that's like halfway-ish, and then you kind of have to start running with your head a little bit more than your legs. And the moment that it got hard in the first two marathons that I did, it really like flipped a switch in me, and I found myself really thinking like, oh my god, let's go. Like, this is where I proved to myself who I am, this is like where I turn it on, this is where I lock in. But I just like really like switched on in those first couple of races, and then this one it started to get a bit hard, and I just found myself thinking like, oh my god, I just can't be bothered. I felt like I didn't have any like in me to like want to do well, which I guess was a good thing, because it then did mean that I was really soaking up the atmosphere, and I was like really not caring about like putting myself into a hole. But on the other side of that, it did make me think that I probably do need to have a bit of a break, and I think I'm just feeling a little bit checked out. So my goal over summer is honestly just to like enjoy life a little bit more, and kind of just get back to like exercising for fun. Like, I did a Pilates class this morning, and I absolutely loved it. Oh my god, it was so hard. If I've ever thought that Pilates is easy, that class this morning humbled me so violently. It was Reformer Pilates at this place called Carve. I know they have one in London. I did the one in Dubai. We're doing this like split squat thing, and then the woman that was hosting the class first of all came up to me, took all of my springs off the Reformer, so basically took all of my resistance off, and then handed me, she like reached under my Reformer, pulled out this big long stick and handed it to me, and she was like, for support. No one else in the class had one. It was just me. I felt like Gandalf holding this like big long pole trying to do a split squat, literally like my whole body quivering holding on to this pole. It felt like the pole of shame. And then I was looking around at all of these girlies just like doing it with ease with like the highest resistance on, and I was like, how can I run a marathon and I can't do a split squat in Pilates? It was so hard, but I loved it. It was really fun. I definitely want to go back and like do it again and get a bit better at it. I also am going to be traveling a little bit over summer. I think I mentioned at the start of the video I'm going to be spending some time in Copenhagen, and with that I'm also going to be spending some time in Norway, which I am so excited for. I kind of just want to pivot my content, I guess, a little bit to more like travel-y, lifestyle-y, doing like new things based stuff. So would love any like thoughts or feedback on, I guess, like what you'd like to see from me, and like whether more like lifestyle-y, travel-y, doing new things-y type content is like up your alley, or if there's any other kinds of stuff that you'd like to see. I would really appreciate any comment. I'm also starting something new, a business, if you will, which I'm really excited for. This has been in the works for honestly a really long time now, and I do want to talk about that, and I want to go through the whole process of, I guess, like building a business from the start and like showing you guys, because I don't want to lose what I'm currently doing in the slightest. I want like both of them to work harmoniously together. But I've now been posting on social media for coming up to 2 years full time, and I love it so much, and it's given me so many amazing opportunities, and in many ways it is my dream job. Will I love it in 5 years time to the same extent that I do now? Will I want to be going out and like making loads of videos and filming myself in 5 years time to the way that I do now? I don't know. So I want to create something for myself that is kind of an offset of what I'm doing now, and then I'll just see which direction those things go in. So yeah, I will talk about that more in depth in the coming videos, basically bring you guys along on the process and show you all the ups and downs of building a business from scratch with like basically no experience. So yeah, that's my updates. I feel like I'm sort of like entering into a real transitional period of my life. I am exiting this phase of like living in Dubai. I'm going back to London. I'm going to be traveling around Europe a fair bit over the summer, and I'm starting a business, not do as much running and not do as much, I don't know, endurance-y style exercise, and focus a little bit more on just like wellness and just like making sure I'm happy and making sure that I'm like moving for enjoyment rather than a marathon. Sorry if this video was honestly just like a bit of a long ramble, but I kind of just wanted to like project that that's where my headspace is at, and also answer some questions on the marathon, because I did have loads of questions on the marathon. But yeah, I really appreciate if you guys are here, if you're watching this, if you are interested in any COROS products, I have dropped the links below, so please go and check those out. I'd really appreciate it if you would like and subscribe to my channel. Goodbye, lots of love. See you soon.